Good morning. My name is Tom. I come to you from the great state of Maine. I'm up at the cabin this week. I'm on a 5-day deer hunting trip here. When I got here at the beginning of the... Actually, I got here on... I got here Friday. I tried to get up here on Thursday, but we had some family business we needed to take care of on Thursday. So there was a snowstorm. Make a long story short, there was a snowstorm Thursday night into Friday, and when I got here there was 5 to 6 inches of snow on the ground, and the trees were completely full of snow. Well, I don't know if you've had a chance to hunt in snow like that, but the deer are pretty safe when the fir trees are full of snow. I got out to my tree stand Saturday morning, and when the sun came up, I had very little shots, if any. All the trees were completely full of snow. I have 3 lanes, so I can see if it's a buck, see if it's a shoot a buck, and then shoot the buck in the 3rd lane with any luck at all. But I only had 1 lane because of that snow, so I texted my wife and I said, if there's a deer that comes through today, he's going to be pretty safe because I don't have much of a shot at all. So thank goodness, you probably can't see, but in back of me, it warmed up Saturday a little bit. So now the snow out of the trees and the wind has cleaned out the trees. So like I said, today is, maybe I didn't say it, today is Sunday. So when I get out into the woods tomorrow, it looks like the trees are going to be clear of snow. But up here in northern Maine, you just never know when the next snowstorm is going to come in. But by Saturday night, I got in the tree stand Saturday morning at 5 a.m. and then I climbed out at 5 p.m. But at 1 p.m., I'm sitting there in my tree stand, and 30 feet away is a rubbing post for a bull moose. It'd been there all fall. It's new. It wasn't there last year. But anyways, that was kind of cool to see. But at 1 p.m., that bull moose steps out of the bush. I mean, like, instant. Because it's thick in there. You can't see. You can't, in that particular area, that's why I have that tree stand there. It's an ambush site. And in that direction, you cannot see through the bush at all. It is so thick. So with one step, he steps out 30 feet from my tree stand. And there's a full bull moose standing there. So I thought that was pretty good. I did take a video of him, and I'll fit him into this trip as I build this video up. But anyways, he hung around for 30 minutes. He stayed at that rubbing post. He'd lost his antlers by now. His antlers had fallen off. So all that he had was a couple of stubs there. But he was rubbing his stubs up on that thing, and he was licking it, and he was chewing on it. And then he moved on to some saplings. And he spent 30 minutes within 30 yards of my tree stand. So that's the kind of stuff that I love about deer hunting and just plain hanging out in the woods, is you never know what's going to walk out on you. That's the 2nd moose that walked out on my tree stands in 40 years of hunting. So it's something that doesn't happen very often, so it's pretty special. So then he playing around there, and he chewing on trees, and then he wandered off into the bush, and you'd think that would be it. But this particular ground is kind of small in the direction he was headed in, so I was wondering if he'd wander off. It's really full of blowdowns and all of that, so I was wondering just how far he'd wander off, but never really gave it too much thought. But then at 4 o'clock, I see 2 big bull moose ears sticking out of the bush again. Nose first, and then his ears. And at this point, he's probably 50 yards away. But he did the same thing. He walked in and walked right up to that same trail, and right back up to that rubbing post, and he spent probably 20 minutes at 4 o'clock. Just same thing. He was beating the heck out of a maple tree sapling, chewing on it. They bite the bark off with their teeth. So I got to watch that. It was just a really nice thing to watch, especially for that long a time. Like I said, 20 minutes, that was pretty good. So, but I just wanted to share that with you, how my day went out in the tree stand. I didn't see any deer. I'm kind of blaming it on that moose. I'm not sure just how tight they mingle, and I'm pretty sure he was there from 1 o'clock in the afternoon until dark. I don't think he went very far off that run. I actually think he went down in and maybe bedded down a little bit, because I have seen some beds in there. So, but like I said, I'm not sure how tight they mingle, moose and deer. So I'm blaming him for not seeing any deer that afternoon. But I just wanted to share that with you. But I wanted to tell you about yesterday's hunt. This snowstorm, we knew it was coming, so that's a really good time to get out the day before. Anytime I have a front coming in like this, I am always in my tree stand, because leading up to this low, it's just usually there's some bucks moving around, some does will be moving around, and that was typical of yesterday. I didn't get a buck, but I did see 2 deer from my tree stand. So that's success to me. I had a doe come through around 2 p.m. yesterday. I got into the tree stand at 1. I actually was in the tree stand in the morning, and then at about 9:30, 10 o'clock, I headed back in here to have some lunch, and then I got back out to the tree stand around 1 o'clock, and then this doe come through, like I said, around 2 o'clock, but it was actually 2:10. And then maybe 45 minutes later, an hour later, I had a spike-horn buck come through. Could have shot him 1,000 times, if not one, but I'm after a deer that's 2.5 to 3 years old, with any luck at all. I might have to settle for just a meat deer later on in the season, but I really hated to shoot I don't shoot does anymore, and I was kind of holding off for a bigger buck with any luck. Like I said, I hate to shoot a spike horn at this point, because in 3 years he'll be a halfway decent deer if he has a chance to make it. And around here, that's a pretty good odds, because I've been hunting now this is the second week. I've been hunting up here. I have not seen another piece of orange since I've been hunting here, and that's why I moved all of my hunting stuff up here several years ago now. About 12 years ago, I moved everything to the top of the state, because I like to hunt pieces of woods all by myself, and that's what I have here. So, like I said, I can sit in my tree stand day after day after day, and I never ever see any other hunters. And the reason that I did that, I don't want to ramble here, but the reason that I did that is because in central Maine, and that's actually where I live, there's a lot of deer hunters that are nowadays that are just plain heater hunters, or truck hunters. They ride the roads, or they sit in fields. None of them really get out in the woods anymore. But what was happening, and they're scared to death of the dark, because your golden hour is the last hour. The last hour of dark. Deer hunting's not over at sunset. In this state, you've got another 30 minutes. most of the deer that I've shot in the evening have been in that last 30 minutes. That where legal hunting time is. So, but a lot of hunters, they were messing up my hunts because at 4 o'clock down home, they'd be walking out of the woods because they got to get out of the woods before it's dark. Because the only thing I can say is they're pissing their pants and they're scared of the dark. Because otherwise than that, why in the heck would you climb out of your blind or your sight and head for the truck? I just have had way too many people messing up my hunt. I sit there all day long sometimes. And if you climb out of your place at 3 o'clock so you can be out to your pickup by 4 o'clock or by dark because you're scared of the dark, you have messed up my hunt royally. And that happened way too many times. So like I said, about 12 years ago, I searched this state out and I looked for a spot with very few hunters, if any at all. And I am happy to say that in the 12 years that I have been here, I have only seen 2 hunters cross my path in 12 seasons. So for me, that's just the way I like it. So I'm sharing all this. And if you're a hunter, think about that. Think about sitting in your tree stand until dark. Until you're climbing out of that tree stand or out of that ground blind with a flashlight, it's still hunting. Open up your law book, see what legal hunting is, and sit there until the very last minute. 2 bucks I shot the last 5 minutes of legal hunting time. The last 5 minutes, think about it. An 8-pointer I shot the last 5 minutes of legal hunting time. If I was back in my 4-wheeler or back in my truck headed for home or headed for camp, I never could have shot that 8-point buck. So keep that in mind when you're climbing out of your sight that early. So it makes no common sense to me if you've been out there for 2 hours why you want to quit a half hour early. Or if you've been out there for 6 hours, why do you want to quit a half hour early when you're in the golden hour of buck hunting? I'm sitting here on Sunday, I'm getting ready to clean a gun. This is a bolt action 12 gauge with a 28-inch barrel, full choke. So this is a real meat-eating gun. This thing will get you just about anything. All you got to do is shoot him in the head. Shoot the head and the body's dead. So that's good. So I will leave you some links at the end of this video. Click on one of those links. It's more about the lifestyle here at the cabin. And I will also leave you some cards up at the beginning of this thing. I'll leave some cards up in the right-hand corner of more videos about the lifestyle that I have here at this rustic log cabin in northern Maine. So I will see you in the next one. Got him, no problem.